Hey guys, good morning. Bill Soriano here from Pittsburgh. It is Sunday, July 3rd, about 9:23 a.m. here on the East Coast in Pittsburgh, Eastern Standard Time, and it's time for our weekly outlook, right? So today, what we'll do is, let me just see if I can refresh this here. Forex Smart Money Trading Academy group here. See if our live session is showing up here. So today we're going to go through all 26 Forex pairs, identify the daily trend bias, the 4-hour order block with the daily trend bias, points of interest inside of the 4-hour order block, and then we'll set our alerts there, and we will wait for price to hit those alerts during this week of trading. That's what this is, the weekly outlook for July 3rd. Now this week, of course, there's a holiday, 4th of July holiday. So although I will keep an eye on the alerts and see what's happening and track them for you, I would not take any trades until Wednesday morning. So we wouldn't want to trade Sunday night, all day Monday, all day Tuesday. We wouldn't want to start trading this week until Wednesday morning. There's just not enough volume in the market for it to make sense to us. So we're going to use an indicator like we did, like we do every week, to help us plot these 4-hour order blocks. This indicator works about 80% of the time, I would say. Sometimes it just doesn't work, but if you're brand new, it helps you to identify the order blocks. If you want to do that on your own, but obviously you can use this session every week to do that. These order blocks must meet 3 criteria. They must lead to a break of structure. You must have an engulfing candle at some point after that banker candle, which identifies the order block. They must cause imbalance, and they must not have been mitigated. So they must not have already been touched. So I've gone through my charts here, and I've removed, I've cleaned up all the charts so that we can remark them. A couple of the charts still have some drawings on them because they hit their point of interest on Friday last week. So let's just get started here. Again, we're going to use this Smart Money Concepts Lux Algo indicator right here. Again, you can see this right here. I have it right here, Smart Money Concepts Lux Algo. And you could just search for that. It's a free indicator that will pop up here in TradingView. And that's what we're going to use to help us mark up these order blocks. So we're going to be on primarily the daily. Today, we're going to stay on the daily charts and the 4-hour charts. We may drop down to the 1 hour if we can't find a nice liquidity block on a 4-hour. We may drop down to the 1 hour. But we're going to want to use the daily and the 4-hour to identify the higher time frame trend bias. And then we're going to want to use that trend bias in marking up our order blocks to decide if we want to, if we see this as bullish or bearish for the week. So let's get started here with AUD-CAD. And let me see here real fast. Okay, so let's go to the daily. Look at the daily. We can see right away that it's the price action is bullish. We have the 13, the red line is the 13 EMA, the green line is the 62, the blue line is the 200. We can help use these. We can use these 3 moving averages to help us identify the trend if we're a little confused about it. But as you can see here, this is certainly bullish. When you look at the 4-hour, it's certainly bullish as well. So they're kind of in line with each other. There's really no contradicting. And so the indicator is giving us this order block right here, which is a nice order block. We have a nice bullish engulfing candle here after this banker candle right here. And so I would personally use this candle right here for my order block, right? But they're using this whole thing here. So that's fine. We'll use the whole thing. We're going to mark this whole thing up here, but we're going to put our point of interest on the open of that candle right there. So that's what we're going to wait for price to hit. So you can see here, price it appears like this area's already been touched, but you first have to have a break of structure in order to determine if the area's already been mitigated. And although this area may have been touched here, our point of interest hasn't been hit. So that's what we're looking for. We're looking for that blue line. So we're looking for price, and if we're actually in USD JPY right now. It didn't change. I was wondering why. Okay, so this is USD JPY. So we're at the bottom of our watch list right now. So how about today we start at the bottom and we work our way up. So that's what we have. We're looking, this is bullish obviously for the week, and we're looking for price to hit 143.170. You can see that over here. Whenever I put that blue line there, you'll be able to see where the point of interest is. Okay, so if you want to keep track, and so you can mark up your own charts as well, right? USD CHF. Okay, this was one where price had moved into an order block that we had marked up here. I think this happened on Friday. So right now, this one, I have a blue flag on it because this is set up right now. We're looking for our entry model. We're looking for a lower time frame flip here in order to get in this. So basically, you see this blue line here. We're waiting for price. We're going to wait on the 15-minute chart. We need price to break structure here to the upside to tell us that that it's getting ready to switch. Okay, and so once we would get that break of structure to the upside in this, right, then we would be able to identify this order block down here, right? This area right down in here, and that's where we could set our buy limit down there, wait for price to come back and touch that, and then hopefully it will then shoot up further into this next order block here, which would be a good, well, that's actually a failed order block on the way down. So we're going to come over here and get rid of that if we can. Okay. So this one, price hit our point of interest on Friday, and we're just going to wait for our lower time frame flip, right? You see here, the price came down. It took some liquidity. It moved back up. It came down again. But we're really looking for this break of structure right here on that wick right there. We need a nice close above that wick, a nice impulsive move up and a close above that wick. And then we can wait for it to pull back and we can take our trade from there. That's basically how this works, right? We wait for price to hit our 4-hour point of interest, then we drop down to the 15-minute to find our entry model. And the entry model, the best entry model to use obviously is the lower time frame flip or the choke, right? And essentially, just to show you real fast here, here's what you're looking for. You're looking for price to move down and hit your point of interest. Okay, so let's say price is moving down here. We get a pullback right here like this. Let's just see if we can just kind of move this down a little bit here. So we get a pullback like this, then price comes down and it hits our point of interest and moves into our order block, right? And so price has been moving down here. So we get this break of structure here to the downside. And then what we need is we need a choke. And so the choke is the change of character. In this case would be a break of structure now to the upside. See? So we need that choke. Price has been moving down. It just broke structure to the downside. Now we need it to turn around, break structure to the upside. That gives us our change of character or our choke. And then that will identify an order block on the 15-minute chart where we can set our limit order. It could be here. It could all be down here. And then hopefully we wait for price to come back to that. and then we get into that trade and expect it to move higher. So that's what our lower time frame flip is. Okay. And then of course the other entry models would be our Smart Monix entry candle. That's a single candle. So that one we don't use as much because obviously just waiting for one candle without having a break of structure or a choke, a change of character on the 15-minute chart is more risky. It's a more risky trade, but you could take it. It uses one entry candle, and these candles using our Smart Monix indicator here, which I can give you access to. You get access to that once you go through our 9-part Smart Money Concepts video series that I have. That's these yellow candles here. So these candles are Smart Monix entry candles using our Smart Monix indicator on IM Academy, and it uses all 4 of the indicators, uses our harmonic scanner, on IM Academy, and it incorporates 4 different indicators to cause that candle to turn yellow. But again, that's a little more risky because it's just one candle. The best thing to do is the best way to take your trades are using this lower time frame flip model here, utilizing the choke or the change of character. Okay. And then waiting for the pullback to your 15-minute order block that's obviously inside of your 4-hour, your higher time frame, and then that's where you can set your limit order to take the trade. Okay, so now that's not what we're doing today. Today, all we're doing is marking up these order blocks. But since this point of interest, we're marking up our points of interest inside of our order block. But since this point of interest here was hit on Friday, I wanted to show you what we're waiting for here on this USD CHF pair next week before we would decide to take a trade. And even if you as you guys know, I'm at the restaurant working during the day. So even if you're working a job 8 to 10 hours a day, you can still have these charts marked up, and many times you're going to have plenty of time to be able to take these trades after this point of interest line's hit. Okay, so let's move on with what we're doing here. So that's already done. USD CHF here. Let's go to the daily chart. We can see on the daily, this is bearish on the daily. We go to the 4-hour. On the 4-hour, we're also bearish. Okay, right? We do have a choke here, a change of character. We don't have what I like to call a choke plus, where you get a choke and then a pullback and then a second clean break of structure, telling you that the trend now is about to change. So we're still bearish here, even though we do have the choke. So since we have a choke here, in other words, if the daily was showing us that it was bullish, which it's obviously not here, right? If the daily was showing us that it was bullish, and then we seen that the 4-hour was bearish, but we had this choke, this bullish choke here, then that would be enough for us to say that would be enough for me to say that I'm going to take this is now bullish for the week. So I'm going to mark up an order block down here. Now, of course, that's not the case. It's bearish. So we're going to use this order block right up here to try to take this trade down. So we have a nice banker candle here, this blue candle here, and we have a nice engulfing candle after it, right? And it has created imbalance. We have all kinds of imbalance still left here, right? Some of the imbalance has been filled, but there's plenty of imbalance left here, okay? So we're going to mark up this zone here. And we're going to use the open of that banker candle right at the beginning of that zone as our point of interest. And that's where we set our alerts, and that's at 1.3313. Okay. Okay, so NZD USD, we're looking at this here on the daily. On the daily, the order flow is bearish, as you can see here. When we look at the 4-hour, we're also bearish on the 4-hour, right? So this giving us this order block right here. I don't really like this order block. I don't although I do because we got a nice engulfing candle right here. So what I would do is, it's giving us 2 order blocks. I'm going to take the closest one here because I have a nice engulfing candle. After this blue candle here, the last up candle before this down move, which creates imbalance, right? I got a nice engulfing candle there. So I'm going to use the open of that candle right there as my point of interest. That's going to be my point of interest. I like to use the open of the banker candle inside of that order block for my point of interest. Now, some people just put their point of interest right at the beginning of the order block. Okay. So that's fine if you want to do that. It's a little more aggressive because, you know, sometimes price does just touch that order block and then it reacts, but also sometimes it touches that order block and then it continues to move in that direction before reversing. Now, the good thing is if you're using the lower time frame flip as your entry model on the 15-minute, then you can get away with picking the wrong point of interest or order block sometimes without getting into a losing trade. And of course, sometimes you do everything right and you're still going to lose because no strategy is 100% effective, right? I had a guy in a group tell me, I posted a couple trades that I took in the group about a couple months ago or so, and both of those trades lost. And he said, "Oh, Bill, thanks for those posts you did there. I'll never look at your charts again." Hey, every strategy has losing trades, right? The idea is to apply your statistical edge over time, and that's how you make money and grow your account trading Forex. Okay, did we set an alert there? Yes, we have an alert. Okay, let's move on here. Okay, so looking again, we want to look at the daily. We see the daily is very bullish, right? The 4-hour is still bullish, right? Now, they're marking up this area down here, which has already been hit, right? You can see you have a break of structure. So this area here has already been hit. Price has already reacted off of that area. So what I would like to do in this case is I can investigate this further after I get off this live session on the 15-minute to see if there was actually an entry, a good entry, right? But what I would like to see happen here is I could select this order block down here, right? I could wait and see if price comes through there, but you know, I don't really want to see that. What I'd rather see is I'd like to set what I call just a break of structure alert here. So I'm going to put a red line here. I'm going to put an alert on this, and I'm going to just name this break of structure. And then, whoop, selected the wrong thing there. And then this way, when this alert goes off and I come to this chart here and I see the red line and the break of structure here, I'll know that what I want to do now is I want to identify an order block and a point of interest. So right now I'm going to let this one go. I'm going to look at it later on today. I'm going to put a flag on it here, a blue flag, so that I can see if there was a trade and I can, you know, post that in the group to show you how that would have worked out. But for right now, I'm looking for price to break structure so I can then identify a better order block to the upside. Okay, NZD CHF. If we look at this, we can see the 4-hour, the daily is bearish. We're also still bearish here on the 4-hour. We have a nice banker candle here, but we don't get an engulfing candle and we don't have any imbalance in this order block here that it's giving us. See how that wick comes up? So that tells me that this order block here could just be liquidity, could just be a trap, a liquidity trap. And the price may move right through that and go into this one. So because of this, because after this last up candle before the down move, this candle's not engulfing and there's no imbalance because this wick is coming all the way up to the top of the body there, right? So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to take this order block. because I get an engulfing candle after the banker candle, which in this case is the last up candle before the down move that causes a break of structure and creates imbalance, right? And we're going to put our actual point of interest at the open of that candle. And there's our alert set right there. NZD-CAD, if we look on the daily, we can see it is bearish, right? Bearish order flow on the daily. We also have bearish order flow here on the 4 hour as well. Again, we have an order block right here that the price has already moved into. I don't really like this order block. Again, there was no engulfing candle, no imbalance inside the order block. There is some imbalance right here. It's already been filled. And so this could actually be a potential trade already as well. So I'm going to put a red star on here so I can look at that later. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this candle up here, right? Don't have a lot of imbalance up here. I have a little bit, but I have a nice big engulfing candle there. Right? So I'm going to look for price to move up a little bit higher in this case here. I'm trying to set an alert right on my horizontal line here. Okay. GBP USD again on the daily we're bullish. The 4 hour, you know, it's bullish, but you do have a choke. Okay. So again, if the daily were bearish and then I would see this, I would be okay with that as well. But since the daily is bullish and we don't have what I call a choke plus yet, which is we get this choke here. Now we get the pullback. Now, if we got a second break of structure, which we're going to get in order for price to move down into our liquidity block, but that's just because they want to go down there and mitigate those candles. So that's why you have to be careful. And that's why we look at the daily, because the daily always gives us a better overall picture of what the trend is and which way we should be going. Okay? It doesn't mean that we can't win by going against the trend. It just means there's a less chance of us winning, so we like to stay with the trend. Okay, but again, we're saying the trend bias, so we could get a short-term change in the trend that causes us to go the other way. But in this case, we're looking for this order block down here. Order block has some imbalance, but we don't really have a nice engulfing candle. So that's just, I don't like that area because of that. If I drop down to the 1 hour, if I just, let's see if I highlight this zone here. Drop down to the 1 hour and see if we have something inside there that looks a little bit better. Okay. And really we don't. Really don't have anything in there that looks a little bit better. So what I'm going to do is, let's see here. Again, we like to see that engulfing candle, right? But you know, since we don't take the trades right off of this, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mark up the zone here. And I am going to put my point of interest right there at the open of that candle. But again, this is not a very good, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave myself a note here that there was no engulfing candle. Right? No engulfing candle. But we'll still have that alert marked up there because we're going to look for a lower time frame flip, that change of character on the 15-minute before we take a trade. That gives us a little more leeway when we're marking up these 4 hour points of interest. GBP NZD, the daily is going to be bullish. as so is the 4 hour. Right here, we have a nice candle. We have some liquidity grabs. You see these wicks come down here, which is always a good sign. You see how liquidity, a little liquidity grab. We have a banker candle here, a nice engulfing after it. So that's a good zone for us. Again, typically I would use the zone here, wick to wick on the banker candle. But since the smart money indicator is printing this zone, I'm just going to go ahead and copy that, because the zone I'm really not worried about, because I'm going to put my point of interest on the open of that banker candle. So that's what I want price to hit anyway, right? So again, we don't look for price just to hit the beginning of the zone. We look for it to hit the open of that banker candle, which is right there. And then we don't take the trade right off of there anyway on the 4 hour. We drop down to the 15-minute, look for our entry model. So that's why I do it like that. So on the daily here, we're in GBP JPY again, very, very bullish. You don't even have to scroll out here. You can see this. This liquidity block here has already been reacted off of, right? We do have a liquidity block a little bit lower, but what I'm going to look for here in GBP JPY is, since this has already been hit and it's already reacted off of it, I'm going to investigate this a little bit further on the 15-minute after we get off this live session. But what I really want to see here is a break of structure again to the upside. So I'm going to put my alert on a red line, and I'm going to look for another break of structure to see if I can get a better liquidity block, you know, a new liquidity block, because that's what I expect to happen. GBP CHF on the daily. So order flow on the daily here, you can see is definitely bullish, right? Price is now come above the 200-day, the 13's above the 62, and they're both trending up. So we're going to go with bearish on there. And we're also, you see here, we have a choke plus, right? We have this choke, a pullback, and a second break of structure to the downside here. If you use the bodies of the candles. So this is enough for me to take this down. So I'm going to look for a bearish order block here. It's giving me this big bearish order block, which has already been hit now multiple times. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass on this pair. This has already been hit. You can see here it's already been mitigated, right? Prices come down, broke structure. So it leaves, it doesn't really break structure though. That's the thing right there. Let me look at the 4 hour again. The 4 hour definitely, the order flow is definitely bullish on the 4 hour. I mean, on the daily. The 4 hour, bullish. Okay, I'm looking at this the wrong way. I want to go with this area down here, right? So again, here's I got this red candle right here. It's kind of like my last down candle before this push up that causes this break of structure right here and leaves this imbalance behind. We also have all these equal lows here now, which is building up liquidity, which tells us that this order block is probably going to be a very good order block to trade from. Now, here's our last down candle, which is our banker candle. We do get an engulfing candle after it. So again, it's giving us this big order block zone here, which we're just going to go ahead and highlight. But we're looking for price to come down here and hit this point of interest right here. So we're not looking to trade this again until price hits our point of interest alert. And that point of interest is inside of that 4 hour order block. Okay. So That's GBP-CHF. So see, initially I was looking at that the wrong way. If you go to the daily, you can see that the daily order flow is clearly bullish. In the 4 hour, although we do have a bearish choke, again, you have to get that bearish choke in order for price to move into your order block for a bullish move. That just has to happen. Okay. So we have to understand that. And we could see all these equal lows down here, 1, 2, 3, 4, just building up liquidity that they're going to eventually come down, and we have imbalance as well. Okay. So this should be a very good zone to trade up from. GBP CAD. If we look on the daily, order flow is bullish on the daily, right? And the 4 hour, 4 hours kind of bearish, right? We do have this choke here. Okay. We do have this change of character right here, right? And, you know, it would have been good to have a clean break of structure right here, but we didn't get it. So what I look for in a break of structure is some people just use the look for the bodies to close above the bodies, right? I look for the bodies to close above or below the wicks. So for me, and you could see also the indicator does the same thing. But for me, in order to get a break of structure here to the upside, I need price to close. I need a body to close above that wick. Okay, and I don't get that. So since I don't get that, this order block isn't valid to me. Okay, because I didn't get a break of structure. Now, I did get the choke down here. Some people would argue, well, you got the break of structure down here, right? And so that validates this order block. Okay. But when I look at these candles here, I don't really get it. I get this big candle here, obviously, but I don't get any engulfing candle right after my order block down here. So this one, you know, sometimes these pairs are very easy to mark up the point of interest. Sometimes you have to look at it a little bit again. So again, let's go back to the daily. The daily, when you look at the daily, you see the 200 down here, it's clearly bullish. So that's telling you that's the way we want to go. The 4 hour, 4 hour, you know, was bullish, but we have this move down here, which is kind of bearish. So, but we do have this change of character right here. So what we could do is if we just identify this zone right here, but this is where we would wait for price to come back to. So our point of interest would be right there at the open of that red candle. And so we would need price to come back down to there. GA, let's look at the daily. The daily is obviously bullish, very bullish. 4 hours bullish as well. We have this order block right here. This was actually hit. Okay, so this was actually hit on Friday, it looks like. So let's see here. We're going to just put a blue line on here. We're going to look to see if there's a trade there, but we're not going to mark up anything else right now because this point of interest was already hit. So that would be our point of interest right there. This would be our order block, right? So, right, we had a break of structure, we have an engulfing candle, and we do have some imbalance down here. Okay, so this imbalance down here is a little bit concerning for me because you would expect price to come down to there. Okay, so but then if it does that, you have some imbalance here as well prior to moving into this order block. So I'm just going to put a flag on there to see. I'll look at that after I get off this live here. EURUSD. On the daily chart, we are bullish. Our daily chart is bullish. And our 4-hour chart is still bullish as well. Right? We do get this break of structure to the downside, which is more like it's not a choke, but not a choke plus. So right now they're giving us these order blocks here on top here, which are for short sales. But what I'm going to do is I don't really like anything on here. So I'm just going to skip over this one. EURNZD. Daily chart is bullish. 4-hour chart is bullish as well. We have this area right down here, right? We have a engulfing candle after the banker candle. The red candle is banker candle. The blue candle is a little bit bigger, engulfing it. We have the break of structure. We have lots of imbalance down in here. So this is obviously going to be a good zone to trade from. And we will put our point of interest right at the open of that banker candle, which is the red candle, which is the last down candle before the move up that breaks structure and creates imbalance. Okay, let's go to the daily here. I don't know how long we've been on here, but we're getting through them all. We have to go through all the pairs in my watch list here. That's bullish. 4 hours also bullish. It's giving us this order block down here. Why don't I like this order block? I don't have an engulfing candle, right? I don't have an engulfing candle there, so I'm not real crazy about that order block. Let's see if we drop down to the 1 hour. If we highlight this zone here, let's see if the 1 hour gives us anything that looks any better. So on the 1 hour, we do have this candle right here. We have this candle down here, which is really the last down candle before the up move here. So we also have this pullback to here. And so we could identify this right here as our point of interest. And if we go back up to the 4 hour, right, we can say, okay, we're going to use that order block there. Let me drop back down to 1 hour here. Okay, it's giving us the same zone. So this to me is what I do is I just put a note here so that I know that this is a 1 hour. 1 hour OB. It's a 1 hour point of interest, I should say, right? What the hell happened there? Okay, 1 hour point of interest, okay. GBP, if we look on the daily chart, we have bearish order flow, and the 4 hour chart is still bearish, right? We look at it here, we can see bearish order flow. We do have a break of structure, but no, nothing significant. It's giving us this area down here, which has already been hit, right? So we can see a point of interest right here. That has been hit, right? So that's been hit. So we'll investigate this further to see if there was a trade there. And if there was a trade there, I'll post it in the group so you can see it. Okay, EURCHF. The daily is definitely bearish order flow. The 4 hour looks to be bullish to me, right? So the 4 hours bullish, and the daily seems to be bearish, right? Okay, but we do have this choke here, but we don't have a choke plus on the daily. We just have a choke. So we have a choke here on the daily. So again, we don't have to trade every pair. We're going to skip over this one. EURCAD. This was one that we traded last week. I still have all the markups here. I'm just going to remove them real fast here so we can see what's going on now. Okay, so we have, you see here on the daily how we have bearish order flow, even though price has rejected off the 200-day. We can see the order flow is definitely bearish, right? And if we look here, if we look on the 4 hour, we can also see that we're bearish as well. Okay, as we have price bouncing off the 200-day on 4 hour, right? So this was a trade that I believe we took earlier here. So this one, let's see. So right here, we have a nice area where we could trade from. Yeah, nice engulfing candle right here. So I'm going to put my point of interest right there. And so, although price has already reacted off, some of this area moved up. We're looking for price here. Wait a second. Yeah. The daily order flow is bearish, right? So we don't want to go. We're not going to trade this pair. That's right. Let's just, we're just going to skip over that. ERAUD, the daily is bearish. We have a bullish order flow here. For some reason, it's giving us an order block all the way down here, but we have a beautiful order block right here with lots of imbalance. Not lots of imbalance, well, some imbalance, yeah. So this is concerning to me. So this is one of those situations where the indicator is just not giving me the order block that I want. Okay, we got a break of structure here. We have a nice banker candle, last down candle before this up move, right? That breaks structure and also leaves imbalance. Okay. We have a big engulfing candle after the banker candle. We have equal lows here. Price just kind of forming liquidity here. So we're definitely gonna look to trade from there. CHF JPY. So the daily is bullish. The 4 hours bullish as well. So this order block here, there's not enough of a break of structure here to validate this order block. Okay. So for me, the order block that I want to trade from, again here, see, I have liquidity grab as this wick comes down. There's my last down candle before this up move that breaks structure and leaves imbalance, right? I have an engulfing candle after my banker candle. So this is definitely, for me, the area where you want to trade this. There's my point of interest right there. That's where I'm going to put my alert. So like I said, 80% of the time, this indicator, this Smart Money Concepts Lux Algo indicator, will give you a good order block. But sometimes it doesn't. In this case here, it's giving us 2 order blocks, one for a bullish trade and one for a bearish trade. Now we know that the daily was bullish and the 4 hours also bullish, so we don't want the bearish trade. Okay. The reason why it's giving us a bearish order block is because there was a change of character here on the 4 hour. But that change of character isn't enough for me to take a trade down. Okay, I need a little bit more than that. I would need this order block here to be completely violated before I would look to sell CHFJPY. Okay. Now, again, that doesn't mean it wouldn't work, because again, we don't just trade off of the 4 hour order blocks, right? We drop down to the 15-minute and we wait for a change of character then, right? So if we were to, for the hell of it, say we marked up this order block, more than likely price would just blow right through it before we would get a change of character to the downside. But that doesn't mean that that trade wouldn't win, right? Again, it doesn't mean when you do everything right that you're not going to lose, right? No strategy is 100%. But for me, for my trading plan, I'm not going to take this short. I'm looking to take this long. But I need a clean break of structure here. I need this wick here. I need a close above there. And I don't get a close above there. Okay, yeah, I get a wick. It comes up, grabs all this liquidity here, right? And that's probably why they're giving you this order block, because you could see this liquidity grab, right? But to me, this order block here isn't valid yet, right? So we're going to go with this one. Let's go to CADJPY. So I don't know how many people are watching this live, but the value that I'm giving on this live is enormous. Okay, I don't know anybody else that does this, you know, in a free group. Now, if you join the community, I know a lot of people that will do this for you. But this is just in a free group. I'm posting this in a free group here. I don't know how much longer I'm going to continue to do that. So really, guys, if you haven't gotten access to my 9-part Smart Money Concepts video series, make sure you ask me for that today, okay? Because I don't know how much longer I'm going to stay on these live sessions for an hour every weekend, marking up these order blocks. If I don't see that a lot of people are watching them. I mean, I don't mind doing it, but I just don't want to waste my time if nobody's watching them. So if you're watching this, make sure that you comment down below this video, tell me you're getting value from it, right? And if you're watching it and not getting value, let me know that as well. But either way, leave me some kind of comment here, because I think I've been on here now for at least an hour, marking up these charts here and telling you where to look for trades during this week. So again, here's our order block down here. Again, there's a nice order block right here that the indicator is not giving us. Okay, this order block right here is nice because look, you have a big engulfing candle. You get a break of structure. It leaves imbalance down here. You also have equal lows right here. It's building up liquidity. So to me, you know, I'm going to look at this order block right here. And my point of interest is going to be the open of that banker candle right there. This order block's giving me everything I need. I have no reason to wait for price to come all the way down here. Again, that doesn't mean the price isn't just going to blow right through here, but if it does, I probably won't get my my lower time frame flip entry model on a 15-minute. CAD CHF, right? Let's go to the daily chart. Daily chart, the order flow is, wow. Okay, this one's a little bit hard. You can see that the order flow here is definitely bullish, right? You didn't get a break of structure there. We would like to see that. Price is still below the 200, but you can see the 13 moving above the 62. But overall, that's bearish order flow. That's bearish, okay? Now, if we look at the 4 hour, we could really take this either way, right? So here, it looks like we have some zones marked up here. Again, the daily, I'm saying that the daily is bearish. So the daily is bearish. I have a choke here on my 4 hour, but my 4 hour is still bullish. Okay. So when in doubt, when in doubt, guys, I'm going to want to go with the higher time frame, which is the daily. Okay. So when in doubt, I'm going to go with the daily. Okay. And the daily, to me, even though we have this break of structure here, until I get that second break here, I'm looking at this as being bearish. So that tells me that I can still trade from this zone here. Okay. So I kind of like this zone right here. And my banker candle, my point of interest is right here. So this hasn't been hit yet. Okay. The zone hasn't been hit. And more importantly, though, the point of interest line hasn't been hit, right? So there you have it right there. Add alert and good. AUD USD, the daily chart. The daily chart again, we did have a choke, but it's definitely bearish. Definitely bearish. 4-hour chart's definitely bearish as well. We get this order block right here. We have that banker candle right there. We have some imbalance. We get an engulfing candle after it. So yeah, so this zone here I can take. But my point of interest is going to be right at the open of that banker candle. Right there. And again, guys, that banker candle is the last up candle before this move down that breaks structure and causes imbalance. And we have an engulfing candle after it. Okay, so that's a good zone for us to pick. AUD NZD on the daily. The daily. Order flow is definitely bullish here on the daily. Yeah, I would have to say the daily is bullish. The 4-hour is definitely bearish, right? 4 hours definitely bearish. So if the daily is bullish, we do have a break of structure here. This order flow on the 4-hour is definitely bearish. I'm going to skip over this one this week. Okay, we got bullish order flow here on the daily. The 4-hour is also bullish, flagging down here nicely. It's giving us these bearish order blocks here that I don't like. So I don't really see an area that I like here. Let's see here. One more time, let me make sure I'm looking at this right. So yeah, the daily is definitely bullish. The 4-hour is bullish as well. I mean, you have the choke plus, you have some bearish order flow obviously coming down here, but that's not good enough for me to trade from. My next order block, break structure, and then it takes the liquidity out of there. Let me just see if I have anything on the 1-hour here. Oh, I did. Okay, so on the 1-hour, we have this liquidity block down here. It leaves some imbalance behind it. I don't really have a nice engulfing candle here, but you just see what the 1-hour, that is the 1-hour. Okay. This up move here. That's nice engulfing. Okay, we're gonna mark up the point of interest right there on that 1-hour. Okay. And then we go back to the 4-hour here. right? See it right there. And we're going to mark that that is a 1 hour so that we know that's a 1 hour POI. And we got 2 pairs left, AUDCHF on the daily here. We're bearish order flow on the daily. Bearish order flow on the 4 hour. Beautiful liquidity block here, but there's no imbalance. There is some imbalance, though, left right here. Right? Some imbalance left behind. So let's do that. And then our point of interest would be right here. Okay, but my issue is this imbalance right here. So sometimes you have to target the imbalance for your point of interest. And this is one of them cases where we're going to do that. So I'm just going to put IPO here. IPO is improper price action, another word for imbalance. So I'm targeting the imbalance instead of the open of that candle. In AUDCHF, this one we already had marked up, right? Price has already moved into our zone here. So we're going to look at that after a while here. So if you see here, price already hit our point of interest line on Friday, right? So again, we had a liquidity, right? We're looking for a liquidity grab. We get a liquidity grab there. Price then goes higher. So we get another liquidity grab, right? So now, right, we have different price action now telling us that this could be, okay, that was our point of interest. So we had our low. Our low was marked right here. So that's where we're looking for this low to be broken, right? But now with this new price action here, we can look for that to be broken right there. So now if we get a move down past there next week, right? If it clears out this break of structure, if it breaks this structure down this way, right? Then we could identify this liquidity block here and we can set our sell limit order there, right? Have it move up into there and then take that down, right? So our initial, we were looking initially at this point down here, maybe, right? Or actually we're looking at price broke structure on the way up. So we were looking at this point, then it came down. So we're looking at this low right here to get broken, right? But then as it continues moving upward now, it makes a new high right here, right? And then that gives us this low right here that can get broken to the downside. That can give us a choke, change of character, and we can get that a little bit faster, and then price can come back to here, right? So again, that's our lower time frame flip model, right? We look for price to move into our zone, right? It moves into our zone. Right, that blue line there would be our point of interest. So let's say we're looking for price to hit our point of interest. Boom, it hits our point of interest, right? So then we see that we had a break of structure to the upside here, right? We had bullish order flow. Right? And so we would be waiting for this break of structure right here to give us our choke or a change of character. And then once we get that, then we can identify an order block up here, right? We could wait for price to move up into that order block, and then that's where we'd set our sell limit to take that down. So that's our lower time frame flip entry model. right? That's our lower time frame flip entry model. It's one of our 3 entry models, right? The other 2 are a Smart Monix shift candle, and then the other entry model is just candlestick patterns. Okay, but out of all 3 of these, the lower time frame flip entry model is the most conservative, right? And then these entry models here, conservative, I can't spell today. Conservative, right? And these entry models here, although good, would be considered more aggressive, right? So just something to keep in mind. Price hits our 4-hour point of interest. We drop down to the 15-minute. We look for one of our 3 entry models, but I look primarily for the lower time frame flip entry model because that gives me the best indication that price is now ready to move in the direction I want it to move. Because, you know, in order for price to hit our point of interest lines, it's moving in the direction that we don't expect it to, right? It's a pullback. It's always a pullback strategy, essentially. We're trading with the higher time frame trend, but we're trading pullbacks. We're waiting for price to pull back, right, to a logical area where we expect price to react off of it and then continue in the direction it was going. Okay, guys, so this has been our weekly outlook for the week of July 3rd. Went through all the pairs. We marked up our we identified the higher time frame trend using the daily and the 4-hour. We marked up our 4-hour order blocks, and we identified our 4-hour point of interest inside of those order blocks. Right now, there's a couple pairs we had to use a 1-hour point of interest, and a couple pairs we just didn't mark up at all. And there were a couple pairs that we set a break of structure alert for, right, to look for an order block later in the week, look for a point of interest later in the week. And then there were a couple pairs that I marked here that I'm going to go through to see if any trades would have taken place using our entry models. And if so, I'll post those chart markups in the group for you. So again, if you haven't gotten your 9-part Smart Money Concepts video training course from me yet, make sure you message me for that. If you're ready to join our community, right? If you're ready to join our community, get access to everything. You get 7 days to try it out. There's a 7-day money back guarantee. Message me. I'll send you the link for that. And also, if you ask me about it, ask me about a special bonus I'm running right now this week where, and I'll tell you about that bonus where you can save $50 down the road. Okay. You won't save $50 on your initial payment, but you'll get a $50 rebate on your first, your second payment or your first monthly payment when you join our community. So ask me about that. Also, if any of you guys out there that are watching this are interested in Forex, but also are interested in affiliate marketing, right? Affiliate marketing, not MLM, but affiliate marketing. Let me know because I have a very good program that you can try out for $1, 7 days, $1. You get to keep over $2,000 worth of value, even if you don't pay after the 7-day trial. So let me know if you're interested in that. This is a new program called Master Plan Affiliates, and it's kind of combining affiliate marketing with some very, very good live Forex trading. So let me know if any of you here that are my Forex guys here are also interested in affiliate marketing, and I'll send you a link for that. Other than that, guys, Bill Soriano from Pittsburgh. Have a great and happy and safe 4th of July holiday if you're in the United States. And I will see you next weekend, probably on a live session where we go over any of the trades that go off next week, so on and so forth. Have a great day.